All right. Well, it is October 15th, the middle of October 2015, and this is our teammate call. And I wanted to thank everybody for being here, and I love seeing your faces. It's going to be positively distracting. I'm going to try, in fact, I'll put it on speaker view so I don't sit here and want to look at all your pretty faces. Why am I looking at Jeanette? Not that that's bad, but I'm looking at Jeanette. Thank goodness I like your face. Anyway, what I would like to do is I am going to take a moment and I'm going to share with you what my experience was at leadership that we had last weekend. And then I'm going to introduce our very special guest and let her have the floor for a little bit. And then we'll probably open it up for some questions at the very end because I think you'll be pretty blown away by what Miranda has to say. No pressure, Miranda. And you'll probably have a couple of questions, or you might have questions about some of the stuff I'm going to tell you about Beachbody and the direction that they're going. So if you have questions for me, save them till the very end, and I promise I will do my best to answer them. So the first thing I want to talk about, not that, is it was funny because I don't know if all of you know that I am a CAB member, which is the Coach Advisory Board. They only ask...
Melissa?
Yes. What?
You're breaking up really bad. I don't, is everybody else here in the breakup? Yes, okay. You're breaking up like really bad. It's like every other word kind of thing.
Oh, that's really bad. Where's my phone? Where's my phone, Jeanette? Maybe I should put it on my hotspot. Hold on, I don't know.
That's a really good question. Yeah, you might want to. Or you can also dial in by phone and use that as your audio. Your video for me is frozen. I can't see you talking, and your audio is broken up. So you can dial in by phone.
Why would I want to do that?
You'll probably get clear reception.
All right, I changed my Wi-Fi. Is that better for now?
So far it's better, yes. I will let you know when it changes.
Okay, for those of you that don't know, I don't live out in the boonies, but I live just far enough out of the boonies that I have really bad internet, and I actually have to pay for 2 separate internets, and neither of them work very well, so this might happen a lot, but just yell at me and let me know whether or not you can hear me. So anyway, like I was saying, I'll start over. I'm going to go over what I learned at leadership, and then I'm going to introduce Miranda, and she's going to talk to you, share some of her secrets with you. And if you have questions for me, we're going to do some Q&A at the very end, so save them for the end. And if you have questions for me or Miranda, you can ask us at the end. Cool? So I want to let you know that, like I said, I am part of the Coach Advisory Board. It's called the CAB with Beachbody, and they actually only ask 4 people a year to be a part of that, and I was honored to be asked a year and a half ago. And so leadership started with us, CAB members, sitting down with corporate. I mean, we're talking the head of coach relations, the head of compliance, the lawyer, the CEO, the vice president. I mean, every single bigwig in the company. We're just sitting there talking, and they started it off with, I don't want to say scare tactics by any means, but really hammering down the fact that us as coaches need to, if you ever use any kind of an income disclaimer or any kind of that you're going to make so much money doing this with Beachbody, or if I were to take a picture of my car and say, thank you, Beachbody, you can get in big trouble for doing that. So I don't think we as TeamM.A.D.E have any problem with that, but I just wanted to make sure that we continue leading with helping people. But if you do, have something, if you were able, like Amanda Dewey was able to build her dream home because of Beachbody, she can say that. You just have to put out the income disclaimer that comes with it. This is Beachbody doesn't guarantee any sort of income. It takes hard work and persistence. So it can be done, but I just want to remind you really quick that if you do anything like that, even if with the holiday season coming up and you want to say, hey, you want to earn some extra income, or how about earning $1,000 to spend at Christmas, you just always have to put that income disclaimer that's, of course, in your back office out there. It's actually worded really well, so you don't feel like it's funny to put out there. I mean, Beachbody words it really well and says that it does take some hard work to get to that sort of level. So it's actually a really nice way to put it, but just putting that out there because I don't want to be that team, because there are those teams out there that do that a lot, and that's just not our style. Lead with your heart, help people, and if you do by chance mention the income that you do get through Beachbody, that you do add that disclaimer. There's a significant amount of six-figure earners in this company that are 5-star and above. If you actually put out all of the people that are just coaching for the discount, they said it's pretty shocking to see how many coaches are making 6- and 7-figure incomes that are 5-star and above. So that was really nice to hear, because I don't know if you've ever seen the income earnings for Beachbody, but they always have to incorporate the people that are on just for discount coaches too. So it kind of skews it. But when you take away the people that are actually working the business, it's very, very high, the people that have been able to generate some really good, happy, healthy income from being a coach. What they're going to do for Summit, for those of you that were at Summit last year, there's a couple of changes that they're going to make. One being that it was incredibly painful to watch the 1 to 4-star diamonds parade and walk across the stage. It was exciting for them, but it was an absolute fiasco. It was hotter than heck, and it seemed, I see your face, Janice, it seemed to take like an hour, right? And it was 12 minutes. I swear, it seemed like it was forever because you were so stifling hot. Well, actually what they're going to do next year, and they haven't 100% decided, but what they're thinking of doing is actually taking out a 30-minute commercial on a major network like Spike TV and highlighting all of those coaches that are 1 to 4-star on TV, and then also playing it at Summit. So if your ambition is to become a Star Diamond by Summit, it's pretty exciting that they're going to give you a 5-second moment on national television to highlight, where you can stand by your TV with your camera and take that picture when it comes up on the air that you were actually on national television being recognized as a Star Diamond. So that's pretty exciting. I think it's better than crowdedly herding cattle across the stage saying, hey, check out our 2 stars and our 3 stars. So I'm excited about that. In 2015, for all of my coaches who have struggled with dealing with coach relations, take a deep breath, because believe it or not, in 2015, they actually doubled the amount of coach relations agents than they had in 2014. That's really good news. However, all of these people that work the phones are still new. So you have to be patient with them, because they're still learning the system and they're still learning the products. And believe it or not, one of the many things I love about this company is all of these people that they have hired to work with us in coach relations, they have them doing fitness programs and drinking Shakeology every day so that they can actually answer your question being familiar with the product. So it's not like they're just these people being hired out of who knows where, we don't know who they are. We're making them a product of the product. So if you call them and you have a question or a problem with Pio or vanilla Shakeology, they actually should be familiar with the product that you're talking about and be able to help you. And I think that's really cute. The Diamond line, I don't know how many 5-star and aboves I have, but that's a huge incentive to become a 5-star Diamond, because you do get on the Diamond line, which is really, really educated, knowledgeable people that help you. And they went from 6 reps to 16 reps this year. So Jeanette and I were on the phone with them today for an hour. My pit bull won. She got him. was wonderful. But just know that they're making huge changes in the call centers to make it easier for us to help our customers. And even though I know a lot of you probably have had the problem of getting a product, or a customer or a coach getting a product and it's not complete, something's missing, but did you know that 98.9% of product that goes out there is correct? If that goes to show how much product they deal with 33,000 orders a day, and 98.9% of those are correct. So if you by chance are frustrated because once or twice, you've had the luck of the draw where you've gotten a product that hasn't been complete. It's happened to me. I got the ultimate reset without, I think, the book. It happens, but it's a pretty good odds that it is right for 98.9% of those orders to be correct. They're going to improve the Shakeology modification online form, and they're going to try to process it within 4 hours. So if someone clicks on there and they fill out that form to change the date that they want Shakeology or the flavor that they want Shakeology, they're working really hard to do that within 4 hours. They're increasing the thickness of the bag, so there's a lot less people getting bags that have blown up. It's really more the mail system than it is Shakeology, but to keep that from happening, because it seems to be happening a lot, they are increasing the thickness of the bag. I got to feel one, and then I got to feel the other, and there's actually quite a difference. And it's like 10 times stronger, even though it's just barely a little bit thicker, but it's 10 times stronger. So hopefully, if you've had issues with people getting broken bags of Shakeology, that's going to go away. They're also testing out sending an email to new coaches and customers on modifying their HD orders. So if you run a lot of challenge groups and people sign up for challenge packs and they don't really pay attention to the fact that they have now home direct on Shakeology, they're going to send out an email like a week before it's supposed to reship, asking them, do you want to modify anything? Do you want to change the date? Do you want to change the flavor? They don't ask if they want to cancel, but if by chance they do want to cancel and they were never expecting that second bag, it's going to keep customers and coaches from being very upset because they weren't aware that a second bag was coming. So I really like that idea. And they're going to try to take, if you notice when they buy a challenge pack, they have Shakeology and the club membership coming out at the same time, which is a lot of money, and it freaks the heck out of people. I don't know if Cynthia's on here. She just had to deal with this. But they're going to start rolling out that the membership now is going to be 45 days instead of 30. So that people get Shakeology on that second month, and then 15 days later, they'll get the club membership fee. So it's not that big, 100 and how much? And it makes that hit a little less hard. Did you know that people do Beachbody on demand? 40% of people do it on their phone. So I just wanted you to know that statistic, because if you're going to advertise Beachbody on demand, always cater to people that use their phone, because that's almost half the people that order it actually use it on their phone.
He's looking for water for himself.
Who is that?
You want to find it.
He's gonna find it? Do you think it's in the basket downstairs?
No, it's not up here. It's at the lace.
That Tris?
Yeah, I did. And Papa took me there.
Cute, right? I'm trying to meet her. Maybe that worked. Sorry.
I want to find your watch. I want Daddy find the watch.
I don't care one way or the other, to be honest.
All right, I have Jenna that's unmuted. I don't think it's Samantha. Are we good?
Hi.
I'm trying to find whose kid that is. They're cute as all get out, but all right. Anyway, I'll move on. There's something that Beachbody is also doing. You guys all disappeared with the digital unlock. So, for instance, with Beachbody on Demand, if somebody doesn't want to buy Body Beast on DVD but wants it on the live streaming, they're actually going to make it available where people can buy it for live streaming without having to buy the DVD, and it's going to be 50% cheaper. So that's coming out. So if somebody has a membership to Beachbody on Demand and they want Kayo, but they don't want the DVDs, they don't need them, they can buy PiO for half the price, and it's going to be on Beachbody demand for them. Now, what if they buy it and they cancel their membership for 2 months, and then they decide to bring it back on because they miss it so much? PiO will always be there for them because they did purchase it on demand. So let your customers know that if they buy it, they have it anytime that they go back to Beachbody on demand. I think that's pretty cool as well, because we are going very digital. The last thing I wanted to talk about is they're expecting about 22 to 28,000 people for Summit. They're expecting to sell about 35,000 tickets. There's 17,000 people on a waiting list right now, but they expect everybody on the waiting list to be able to come. So get on the waiting list, and even though you'll see 35,000 people have bought tickets, it's going to be about 25,000 people that will come to Summit, which is a lot of people. They're going to do some more indoor stuff where there's air conditioning. Thank goodness. And I rented a mansion with 4 other coaches from completely different teams to be able to have a place where we can all meet. The mansion's really close to the convention center. I mean, it's like half a mile to do that, and it's an opportunity for us to get together, you know, at a place. It's a beautiful mansion. So just know that I'm not at a hotel, but I'm at a mansion with Tara Carr, Chelsea Pearson. I'm drawing a blank. I think
Christine Dwyer was one, wasn't she?
No, Allie Vaughn, and then there's one other. Doesn't matter. But really cool chicks. I love them. I dig them. And it's a beautiful facility. And it has, you know, I think it has a pool and this huge outdoor area. So we'll maximize it and use it and get together and have lots of team experience. As far as the Success Club trip goes, in 2017, they wouldn't tell me where it is, but it is, you can probably guess. I'm thinking it's going to be like another Disney resort or something like that, because it's a place where you can buy a room, or you can earn a room, or you can upgrade that room for $300. So you only have the option for one upgrade. And what they're going to do in 2017 to accommodate so many coaches winning this trip through Success Club is they're actually going to have 2 trips. You're going to have a choice of picking Monday through Thursday or Thursday through Sunday. So it's, the facility is rented out for us for a whole week, but you will be there for 4 days and then the other half. And it's just like Summit where you get to pick. So if we decide collectively as a team, we would rather do Thursday through Sunday, that's the one that you're going to request to go to so that we can all be together. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's all I have for that. Just know that I did that recording for you, but I just want you to know that as I put in the team page, that video I made, I'm always so humbled when I leave that. I'm not a sucker. I don't mean that to sound crazy, but I'm not a sucker, and I'm not the kind of person that will go to, no offense to Tony Robbins, to go to a Tony Robbins event where he stands up and has everybody sing Kumbaya and everything is great and it's wonderful. I don't ever buy into that stuff. It's just not my style. And so it's not like I went to this leadership thing and I was just brainwashed into thinking that I'm part of such a great thing. You really are. You really, truly are. I mean, when we were in the CAB meeting and Coach Relations was talking and they had a problem and they thought they had a solution, to sit there and to watch Carl Deichler's brain just go a mile a minute, and then for him to say, okay, how about we do this? And money was never an object for him. There were times that he would offer to change something or fix something because it made the experience better for us. You know, I could tell the Coach Relations or, you know, the IT department or anything was just kind of like, that's going to cost a lot of money. And he's like, I don't care. I don't care. You know, we need to fix this. We need to make this right. And he's just, he's such a compassionate person. And his heart weighs so heavy on the responsibility he has for the coaching network that I just know that he's not going to do anything that's going to take away this wonderful opportunity, as my husband makes fun of me for saying, opportunity that we have. And I really, truly think, I I just know we're so freaking different. When we started off that meeting, we talked about the other MLMs that have shut down, and there's quite a few, and why they've shut down. And that's just something that will never happen with us. I mean, everybody leads with the right reason. And so I just want to finish that with letting you know that I promise you that if you ever, because of the naysayers back there, ever question you or make you think that you're a part of something that isn't honorable, they just don't understand. They just don't understand. So speaking of honorable, I get the opportunity to introduce you to the guest. And I want you to know that I was telling Jeanette today, with a downline of thousands and thousands and thousands, and this being the first time that I've asked a TeamM.A.D.E coach to speak on this call, I chose Miranda. And I know she's probably going, I'm not sure why, because that's the same thing I would, but I follow her. I secretly follow her. And not only that, but I look in my back office several times a day to watch the number of coaches that rise in our business. And her name is constantly coming up. And she's created such an amazing culture with her team. And not only is she doing really well in the business, but I'm watching her coaches do really well in this business as well. And so I just really thought, you know what, she's the kind of person that I want to speak, because she's your girl next door. I mean, she's the mom of 4. She's been married for 17 years to our high school sweetheart. She just celebrated her 37th birthday yesterday. Happy birthday. You don't look 37. Hate you. She's got four kids. Miranda, are they all 4 boys? No? How many boys?
2 girls, 2 boys. 2 girls, 2 boys.
Woo! Dang. Yep. She's been a coach since 2011, but like a lot of us, when you sign up to be a coach and when you start coaching are usually 2 different things. And so she really started working this business in 2013. I'm going to let her share with you the tremendous financial achievement she made, a personal goal with that in order to be home with her family. It's pretty inspiring. But she's been in Success Club consecutively for 18 months, which is amazing. And she really, truly has created great systems that I'm hoping that she will share with you. So, Miranda, let you clear your throat. Thank you so much for being on this call. And just like everybody else, I'm excited to take notes and to learn from you. So it's all yours.
Oh my goodness, you already made me cry. I've been crying all week. It's been like one of those weeks where everything's hitting me at such an emotional level. So, you thanked me for being on, but hello, I am incredibly humbled and feel like Cinderella right now. So thank you for encouraging me and lifting me out of a little bit of a funk I was in, being hard on myself. So thank you, Melissa. I'll tell you guys just a little bit about my story, because that's really where it starts for me, is well before 2013 when I started working my business. I was the local beauty pageant queen in my tiny little town in high school. And my dad was a city councilman and my mom was a 2nd grade teacher. We were avid churchgoers, the perfect little family, right? It was my sister and I, and everything just looked fabulous. Well, I graduated high school in May, found that I was pregnant in June. So the earth kind of shattered for my family. And I was encouraged to get an abortion. I was encouraged to put my precious baby boy up for adoption, and I started being a fighter then. And I fought for my husband that I dearly love and have been married to ever since. And I fought for my child. And that prepared me for the next 15 years of intense struggle. I finished my bachelor's degree in 4 years out of sheer determination to prove to everybody that I could do everything perfectly, to redeem myself. And I entered a master's program. And during that time, I had another 2 children. So I had 3 kids in grad school. And my husband was trying to build his general contracting business. We had no money. And we're just hanging on by a thread in more ways than one. Then I didn't think it could get any worse. But in 2007, that May, I finished grad school. And I thought, okay, finally, I can go get a job. I can make some money. I can pull us out of the $40,000 of student loan debt we're in, and maybe we can actually start living. And we'd been married 10 years by this point. So I started applying for teaching jobs, thinking this is it. Things are about to turn around. And that July, my then 4-year-old little girl, Sophie, was diagnosed with a massive brain tumor. We were taken by ambulance from the ER where she had her first MRI straight to Children's in Dallas. We didn't get to go home, pack a bag, nothing. Another earth-shattering moment. And I had to fight again. She was in very dire condition, and if we had waited another couple of days to have that brain scan, she wouldn't be here right now. She had very severe hydrocephalus and had 3 years of brain surgeries, chemotherapy, radiation. I had another baby during that time because I was convinced that cord blood would be something that could save my daughter. And we needed joy, honestly. And my little girl that I had during that time, her name is Livy, and that means life. And she's brought so much life into our family. So I'm thankful for cancer because it gave me another daughter. So we got Sophie through chemotherapy, multiple life-threatening brain surgeries, radiation. So we found ourselves in June of 2010 thinking, okay, she's had this radiation at MD Anderson. It's 98% curative. We're home free now. We can live. Everything's going to be great. I applied for teaching jobs again. That August, my husband was diagnosed with 4 endocrine tumors. He was 35. Brain, thymus, thyroid, and adrenal. On top of all that, they told us this was a genetic disorder that our other children could possibly have as well. Earth-shattering again. So life just kept getting put on hold. And I had never had a weight problem, but I always had a perfectionism problem. So through putting myself last all those years, through grad school, financial difficulty, having 4 babies, taking care of 2 cancer patients in my family, I completely lost myself. Totally. I had no idea who I was. I was everybody else's person, but not my own. So the fall of 2010, my husband had a lot of surgeries, a lot of therapies, but fortunately he responded really well. And by January of 2011, he was doing really great. So I decided this extra 50 pounds I'm carrying around and this, 12 years of life where I've had no control over anything has got to stop. So I joined a local Zumba class at my church where a friend of mine was teaching, and I started dancing. And instantly, I felt alive again. And then I joined a boot camp at the local gym at 5 a.m. in the morning and started doing that 3 days a week. And it was so hard. I've never hurt so bad in my life, but I could breathe, and I could think, and I could feel something coming back. Well, it took me about 6 months to lose only 10 pounds. And a lady that I had been working out with said, you might want to try this shake that I just started drinking. It's helped me lose my last 10 pounds. And I know you're frustrated and I know you're stuck. So maybe you should give it a shot. I said, I'm in. I'm totally in. But then I saw the price and went, like so many people do, because I was still broke. So I signed up as a coach. This was before Challenge Packs in June of 2011. Signed up as a coach, and I had to wait another 3 weeks to order my Shakeology for $89.95 back then with that discount. I drank that shake for 4 weeks straight, did not miss a day, and I lost the same 10 pounds in a month that it had taken me 6 months prior to lose. So I did not come into this looking for a business. I had no confidence, no belief in myself, no positive mindset. I was broken. I was raw, and I had just started to kind of feel again. So I had no belief in myself at all. But something amazing happened that June. Carl Deichler was in Dallas, Texas, right after Summit, and I was invited to go. And I went. I had no idea what I was walking into. So I like to say that Carl himself recruited me to the business because hearing him speak gave me hope for the first time. I took voracious notes. I still have the paper that I wrote on as he spoke. I think I wrote down every word he said, and I had tears streaming down my face because I saw something in him that I wanted for myself, and I wanted so badly, and I didn't know how to get it. So for the next year and a half, I struggled to stay consistent with my Shakeology. I couldn't afford it. Dabbled in recruiting a little bit, and I'll share my numbers with you guys here in just a minute. And it just sort of stumbled forward and tried to find my way, did Insanity, got amazing results, and really just tried to establish some sort of identity in my life again. My marriage was in shambles. Our finances were ruined. My husband was self-employed, so we had no insurance on him when he was sick. So it was a really, really difficult time. And I decided finally to go to work. I felt like my daughter was in a good place, and I felt comfortable leaving her with my mom so I could work. And I got a job teaching at a junior college that's almost 60 miles from my home. And so I was commuting 120 miles round trip 3 days a week in a 4-wheel drive Tahoe. So the gas cost was absolutely crazy, and I was away from my kids. And when I was home, I was teaching English 1301, grammar and composition. So I had over 120 students, and they were writing an essay a week. So I was grading papers more than I was actually in the classroom teaching. And my kids were constantly coming to me, Mom, 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 Mom. And I'm like, I have to grade papers. I can't deal with you right now. And it just broke my heart. And I wasn't getting paid for all those hours I was spending sitting in my living room floor grading papers. So towards the end of that semester, that was the fall of 2012. Towards the end of that semester, I was scared to death, but I made a decision that $1,000, $1,200 a month that I was making teaching college English was something that I could do with my Beachbody business if I really buckled down and went back to that hope that Carl placed in my heart a year and a half earlier. And once I started looking at what I was spending in gas cost and childcare, and when I was home, I wasn't really home, I thought, if I just put my head down and I believe and I work, I think I can make this work. I think I can make in a month with Beachbody what I'm making teaching. And I've got to try. I have to try. So in January of 2013, I put my head down and I started to work on my Beachbody business. I found Tommy Migrant's 5-step process for inviting. I watched his YouTube video, which is like an hour and a half long, 1,000,000 times until I could stand on my head and repeat everything verbatim. And I started using that and started inviting. And within 3 months, I had replaced my teaching income with my Beachbody business, and I no longer had the expenses of gas and childcare. So I was actually feeling that income a whole lot more meaningfully than I had my teaching income before. And to top it off, I was home with my babies, with my kids. It was an indescribable feeling to watch that happen so quickly once I made the decision to do it. And then within the next year, that income that I had per month turned into a per week income. So within less than a year, I was making more per week with Beachbody than I was teaching college English that required a master's degree and $40,000 of student loan debt. Within just less than 12 months, I had quadrupled that income with my Beachbody business. Mm-hmm. And finally, my family could truly live again. We could travel a little bit. We could afford Christmas gifts. It was absolutely life-changing. So I want to share with you, I have a PowerPoint with some slides because I'm a visual person and that teacher in me tends to come out sometimes. So I want to share some things with you guys that really helped me. If I can find it, there it is. So these are the systems that I use with my team. that have worked for me and that are working for all of my business builders. And like Melissa was telling you, I have several amazing girls on my team who have just, some of them have just appeared in my life. I can't even take any credit for how they came to me. I just think of them as gifts, and they're precious and they work so hard. But these are the systems that work for us. And it's all really based on this quote that you see here. Success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And to me, that's what this business is being willing to continue to risk failure and be excited about it, because it means you're getting closer and closer to the success that you dream of. So before I dive into the systems, I want to first give you guys just a quick glimpse at how I make this work as a mom of 4. My husband and I office together out of the same office since he's self-employed as well. And things get really crazy at our house with 2 boys in high school. I have a middle school daughter and a 7-year-old daughter. And we're do, gymnastics and dance and sports, and it gets a little bit crazy. So here's my best tips for all the other busy moms and dads out there. I keep a calendar for my family. I like the one, it's called Mom Agenda. Some people on my team use the Erin Condren planner, but I keep one of those for my family where I write down, all of our activities so that I can manage that and be clear about it. And then I keep a separate calendar for my business, and I use a large desktop calendar with lots of space because I like to use colors and really make it something that I can be consistent with. And finally, I utilize a power hour concept for everything. And I'll go into more detail about what that looks like for our team as far as the business goes in just a few slides. But I use it for housework. I set the timer for an hour, and I ask myself what needs to be done more than anything. And if it's washing underwear for everyone, then that's what I start with. And I see how much I can get done in an hour, and then it's over. It's never all finished anyway, so why try, right? Get an hour in and you're good. And I apply that to my business. I apply it to taking time for exercise, for making sure that I take care of myself and get a shower and actually get dressed and put on makeup every day, because that just makes me feel good. I use it for personal development and prayer, for running errands, and then I make sure we have an hour each day of leisure and just family connection time so we can get face-to-face with each other. Okay, so I want to share with you a little bit about what I call the monkey effect. I read about this study where they took these monkeys, and there were 2 of them, and they put them each in a separate cage in a different room where they could not see each other. And they put them under a really high stress situation. They were flashing all these lights and setting off all these bells and whistles and really stressing them out. And they measured their stress hormones, their adrenaline, and they took all this lab work and measured how stressed out these monkeys were. And it was through the roof. They were in a very terrified state of affairs. Then they repeated the test, but they put the monkeys together in one cage. And they did the same thing, flashing lights, bells and whistles, sirens. They, shook the cage, and their stress levels were less than half of what they were when they were alone. So for me, my team, they're my monkeys. We're together, and it doesn't matter what stressful situations we face, whether it has anything to do with Beachbody business or not. We can handle it better when we're together, and we have that culture and we have that love for one another. This picture you see was taken at our Diamond Retreat earlier this year at my family lake home on Lake Granbury. And we cried, we laughed, we went dancing, we had photos done, and it was an amazing time for us to be monkeys together. And we really try to run our team and run our business with this philosophy to be the coach you'd like to have. And I have to give Julie Fowler credit for this photo. It was her idea, but I love what it stands for. We all lean on one another, and we're all connected to each other so that each one of us can be the coach for our challenge groups and for our individual teams that we wish we had. Okay, so now for some of the systems that we use. This is my team calendar, and I took this from something Anita Myron did on the National Wake Up Call. I don't remember when it was, but she has to have credit for this. Month to month, we try to include this protocol. And this is what I use the big desktop calendar for, to color code each week so that I know what I'm doing. And it may not seem logical, but if you start down in that gray box where it says protocol and you go down to week 4, that's really where our month starts. We try to offer some sort of free challenge the last week of the month. for whatever each coach wants to do. Some people do a squat challenge. Some people do water and walking. Some of us do a clean eating challenge. Some people have done like a personal development challenge. It's really up to each coach to design what they want to do. But it's just something valuable to get people in a group, help them experience what a challenge group atmosphere is like, and show them some value for free. And what that does is set us up to move into week 1 of the month, where we can take all of those people that we just helped for an entire week doing something amazing, and we can invite them to our official challenge group with a challenge pack. And we share with them their opportunity to join that group. So we make sure each month that we're doing something for free, and we're allowing them to transition into our serious group where we really get down to business and help make some changes in their lives. Another ingredient we include each month is a coach open house. You may have heard these referred to as a sneak peek. We've had pretty good success with running those monthly. We've tried a lot of different formats, but the main thing is getting people into your team page or in a separate group and just sharing about your team and about the business. We also make sure that we set aside a week. For me, it's that week 3 to help new coaches get started right, to do some phone calls, do some GSRs, and be sure to send out some welcoming emails to all the new people on the team. And following this protocol really helps people hit Success Club, get their Shakeology paid for. It truly adds value to people without expecting anything in return, and you can start to earn an income and build your team. Another thing that we've been doing is creating scripts for new coaches to follow. And for instance, this is our Hey Girl script, and it really just helps coaches realize how easy it is to invite and gives them something to fill in the gaps when they don't know what to say. Because I remember in January of 2012, when I decided to work the business, Tommy Migrant did that for me. So I've kind of tweaked his 5-step process and put it into something fun that's easy to do. It's no pressure. We also utilize the Power Hour. And this, again, props to Julie Fowler and my coach Jennifer Allen on my team made this cute little graphic. But basically, you set a timer and you move through these certain activities. You spend 5 minutes adding 2 new friends to Facebook, 5 minutes creating a list from yesterday's posts, and you move through these activities that really help you to be specific and stay out of the news feed so that you don't get distracted and you don't look up 2 hours later going, well, I've been working this whole time, but what have I done? Nothing. And as we advance a little further, this is what I like to call the Leader's Power Hour. It's a little more detailed. It really takes into account a leader's responsibility to check into their team and to lead well. So here's a little, I want to talk to you guys for the most part about recruiting, because that is really something that I feel like our team is strong at. And I didn't realize how strong we were at it until Melissa reached out to me earlier this year and pointed it out. We were just kind of doing our thing. But I've realized now that we do have some really strong recruiters in our team. And I think a lot of times we overcomplicate. So I put KISS here. Keep it simple, silly. You know, just figure out what works for your team. We do a business opportunity webinar every few months. I'll do a live one. So I have a collection of recorded ones I can share anytime. I can invite everybody to jump on the 3rd Wednesday of the month, but I can share one that I recorded 6 months ago that I really love. So I do that a lot. Like I said, we host a coach open house or sneak peek. We also have recruited a ton of coaches, just offering that free coach upgrade to the challenge pack, kind of like a coupon for savings. And this is great for people to understand that they can be a discount coach for a little while until they have results, and then they can choose to start helping others or, you know, start their own challenge group later on. But it does help them to save some money up front. And we've had really good success with recruiting a ton of coaches using that philosophy right there. We have realized that we have to be careful with our rhetoric as we offer that, because we don't want to tell them, you don't have to do anything. You can just be a discount coach. Because we started realizing we had a lot of discount coaches, which they're great too. But you want to find those business builders and empower them from the beginning to know that's possible. And then here's the magic. So if you've kind of started to zone out, this is where you need to pay attention. Twice a year, I personally do a hardcore recruiting campaign. And here's what it's done for me. In 2011, I recruited a measly 2 coaches. They both ended up quitting. In 2012, I recruited 16 coaches and have kept 9. So getting a little better there. 2013, I recruited 15 coaches. So, I was working the business more, so I retained a little more. But 2014 is when everything changed. And here's what happened. I saw Melissa post about a recruiting campaign webinar that Eric Worre was going to host at GoPro.com. And it caught my eye because it's something that I lacked confidence in. And I knew that was the missing piece for me in my business was I was a very weak recruiter. So in February of 2014, I did his recruiting campaign. And I recruited 17 coaches in 30 days by focusing really, really laser focused on recruiting. And that's when the momentum shift changed for me. That's when I saw major growth in my team. On top of that, I retained 27 of the 31 coaches I recruited that year. So I was really learning from that recruiting campaign how to talk about the business. And it doesn't just end when you stop recruiting. When you get comfortable with recruiting, you're able to talk about the business with your team much more naturally and more passionately as you move through the year. And then this year has been amazing. So far this year, I've recruited 53 coaches and 51 of them are still with me. And I got 24 of those in 30 days from the end of January to the end of February. It's been an awesome year. And I'm actually about to start up my second recruiting campaign on Monday, actually. So just to show you what that did for me this year, in December of last year, I finished number 570 in the company, which I was really, really proud of. But by the end of February, when the elite report came out in March, I had jumped all the way up to number 122 from that huge recruiting push that I did for 30 days. I was blown away. So the rest of the year, I've really been focusing on training my new coaches, working with my team on Success Club and earning those elite points. So I've got 135 elite points, which if you're not familiar, is exactly what you need to hit elite. And right now, I've been jumping around between number 200 and number 259 for the past couple of months, but my goal is to finish in the top 200, and I will do it. So basically, this goes to a Dave Ramsey philosophy here that focused intensity over time multiplied by God equals momentum. So the way I've been running things the past couple of years is to have a huge recruiting focus during the first quarter, massive action for recruiting, and then in the second and third quarter, work on team building, training, and growth, really helping coaches hit Emerald and hit Diamond, working on Success Club, and then finishing out the year with another recruiting focus to get some great, fresh new faces in our team to kick off the new year with. These are some of the ways that I have enhanced my recruiting skills. Katie Hefner has a branding tutorial on YouTube that is wonderful. It's very, very simple. You need to make a list of your dream team. Who do you want? Who in your life would you absolutely love to be on your team? Even if you're intimidated by them or you think they wouldn't be interested, who do you want to work with? Write it down. One of the key things I do is to make space for coaches. So I get a blank sheet of paper and a number at 1 to 20. And that just creates space in the world for those blanks to be filled. I also create a list of inspired contacts. I literally will sit down and pray about it and just ask the Lord to bring to mind the names of the people He wants me to help. And it's so incredible to do that because I found when I message those people and I literally tell them, you were on my heart this morning during my prayer time, they will tell me, I can't believe that because I needed that encouragement today. And those are wonderful conversations to have. And there's some few other things there too, memory jogger. And I'll definitely share these slides with you guys in case you're missing some pieces here and there because I'm trying to finish up so you guys can ask questions. Again, here's some mindset tips that have worked really well with me, for me with recruiting. A couple of them are from Melissa. Her workshop at Summit 2014, Pitch to Your Niche, was really, really amazing for me. So here's the final effect of recruiting. In my opinion, it's not just about you. When you have energy and are creating momentum by recruiting massively twice a year, your team feels it. So in February, when I was in the middle of my own recruiting campaign, of course, I'm sharing, I'm adding coaches to the team left and right. My team is seeing that in our team page. Wow, there's another one. Wow, there's another one. And the momentum that they started to create was incredible. So I noticed about halfway through February, as a team, we had 130 Success Club points. And I threw a challenge out there to them. I said, guys, let's see if we can double that by the end of the month. Surely we can double that. And we started tracking it, and we were celebrating those points. And the goal was to get to 260, but we blew it out of the water, and we ended up with 332 Success Club points on our team. And it was because I set the tone by recruiting and really, really creating that momentum. And it's really monkey see, monkey do. As a leader, if you're creating that energy, it's contagious, absolutely contagious. So think about it this way. No is a blessing. Picture a line of 115 people, and you need 20 of them to say yes. That's a 10 to 20% number there. And that's really, if you think about it, for every 10 people that you invite, about 1 or 2 say yes and want to jump on board with you. So as you get ready to recruit, picture a line of 115 people, and you're moving through that line, and you're looking for your 20, those perfect 20 that want to do what you do, that want to join you. They see the value. Every person that says no is blessing you. They are getting themselves out of the way. You can move on to the next person in line. It's not personal. They may come back to you later and want to join your team. But when you're pushing for that big recruiting burst, think about that line of people, and you're just looking for your 20. Where are they? Who's going to be my yes this month? And I love to look at it that way. It makes no not hurt so bad. And finally, there is an element of advancement and attack. I've seen this over and over and over in my life and in my business. As soon as you're about to hit a breakthrough to tremendous success, I'm a very faithful person. My faith is very important to me. And I believe when God is getting ready to take me to a new level, to use me in a bigger way, to bless other people, Satan perks his ears up at that. And he says, no. That ain't going to happen. I don't want you out there doing good. So there'll start to be things that happen, like self-doubt. Or like yesterday, my hard drive crashed on my laptop that had my PowerPoint on it for tonight. And I had to completely redo this today. So when you're about to step into something amazing and have that advancement, you have to expect that there will be some resistance from the universe, because you're doing something new, and you're stretching, and it shakes things up. So you have to expect that sometimes you're going to have to push. And just remember that you never start losing until you stop fighting. And that has been what has carried me through crazy struggles in my life and in this business. And truly, I know a lot of coaches say this, but if I can get here, if I can be sitting here at 3-star diamond with 7-star within my reach, anybody can do this. Anybody. And I'll finish it so you guys can ask questions. Tuesday, my 17-year-old son, River, he's a senior. He had a field trip to the state fair in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And we had heard, I've never been, we had heard it was crazy expensive. So I thought, this kid is amazing. He's so helpful around the house. He's very respectful. He stays on top of his chores and his homework, and I'm so proud of him. So I went and got a $100 bill out of my bank account, which was all Beachbody money, and I gave that to him to go to the fair. And he texted me on his way home from Dallas on the bus, and he said, "Mom, the fair was awesome. Thank you for working so hard so that I could have the money to go." Because we've had to tell him no so many times through his life. And that right there, I'll work another 10 years to hear that again, because he knows what gratitude is, and he was willing to stop and celebrate what I've sacrificed to get our family out of the horrific situation we were in. And for me, Shakeology was great. It helped me lose weight. It makes me feel amazing. I don't go a day without it. It's helped my family. Fitness programs, absolutely love them. I won't ever do anything else other than Beachbody programs. I'm that loyal and I love them. But for me, what changed my life was Carl Deichler speaking to me at Super Saturday in Dallas when he gave me hope. He planted a seed of hope in me that did not become able to be harvested for a couple years, but he planted that in my heart. And it's been Team Beachbody. It's been Melissa's amazing leadership and the family culture she's created that has allowed me to set that example for my team. And my leaders on my team they're like my sisters. That is what has changed my life. How could I not share that with anybody and everybody? How could I not take 2 months out of the year to focus and find those 20 girls out there that are as broken and lost as I was? How could I be nervous about that or hold back or be scared? That's just stupid. That's just dumb. You never start losing until you stop fighting. So I hope you guys will be able to use some of these systems that I've shared. I'll pass along the PowerPoint to Melissa and she can share it with you guys because I know there was some stuff on there you probably missed. So please throw some questions out there. I'm more than happy to answer anything.
Thank you, Miranda, so much. I hear that echo. Do you hear that echo? Is it just me? But I just, before the questions start pouring in, I've always been proud of you and what you've done, but I'm gushing with pride right now, enough to tear up. Thank you. Your story is amazing, and I know you share with people on an individual basis and maybe a small group basis, but there will come a time that you will be on a very large stage sharing this story with thousands and thousands of people, and you will change even more lives. So thank you for sharing that. And I know that was hard.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I second that, Miranda. It's extremely difficult to make me cry. Extremely difficult to make me cry. I just walked away to go kiss my daughter goodnight, and as I walked away, I wiped the tears from my eyes. Really amazing. I never knew those details before. I always knew you were amazing. I always knew I liked you, but I never heard all that before. So crazy and inspirational.
Well, thank you. I really feel like struggles are meant as blessings, and it's so hard in the moment to understand and realize that. But I'm grateful for what my daughter's cancer diagnosis taught me. And all I want to do is honor her fight by continuing to share and let what she went through help other people be more grateful and honor the life that they're given and the opportunity that we all have. I do it for her because she's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, the outpouring of thank yous on the chat is, they're all thank yous. There's no question.
We're definitely going to save this for a long time to come. We're going to upload this to Melissa's YouTube channel. Hopefully I can get Melissa to put it in her Dropbox for me tonight, and then I can get it uploaded to the YouTube channel within 24 hours so everybody will have their access to the recording. It's definitely one that people are going to want to go back and watch again and again, I'm sure.
Well, thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to share. Anytime I can use the struggles that we've been through and get that story out there, it makes it a little less painful and a little more purposeful. So I just appreciate you guys giving me the chance to have this platform, and I'm so humbled and honored that you reached out to encourage me because it blessed me extremely.
Fantastic. I saw that somebody answered Amber's question, so I do want to end this call with 3 quotes that I got from last weekend that I think pertain to, even though Miranda's done a great job of letting you know that there's no reason why you can't, build a large organization during these next couple of months. There were 3 quotes that hit me that make me think about, what you'll be going through the next couple of months to build a strong foundation for the big, huge wave that comes in January. And the first one is it's easy to grow weeds. When you think about a garden, it's very easy for those weeds to grow, which are the negative thoughts in your mind. And it's a little bit more difficult to grow those beautiful flowers, which are the positive thoughts. Don't let the weeds take over. Take any one of those negative thoughts that ever come into your mind and push them aside and immediately think of something positive. Come back to this call if you have to. And that life turns on very small decisions. So don't think of the big grand things that you have to do on a monthly scale, but for the next hour, what choices are you going to make, right? Are you going to, sit on the couch and let doubt come into your mind? Or you're going to grab that laptop and reach out to 5 people because those 5 people probably are waiting to hear from you. And then the last one is you've got to win in your head before you win in life. So I want to encourage you to continue your personal development, 5-10 minutes a day, prayer, whatever it is that fills your heart and allows you to have the right mindset to go out there and to know that you're doing something very good for other people, for yourself, and for your family. And as Miranda said, you just need to get out there and share it. Don't be selfish with it. You could change somebody's life, and they are waiting for you to find them because they're lost. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and end it. And I just love you guys to death. Thank you so much for being on the call. And in 2 weeks, Danielle Natoni is going to be on our team call, and she's a frickin' hoot. That's all I have to say. She's the funniest woman I know. So that'll be a very entertaining webinar. And you guys go out there and crush it. And I love you. Thank you.